Förresten, shit, nu är vi live. Är min bild spelvänd för dig? Är texten på alla böcker och filmer åt fel håll?
Nej.
Ja, bra. Då var det bara jag. Ja, skitsamma. Hello! Welcome back to Please Don't Make a Scene. Oh, I forgot to say, we're live, like I always do. And we're almost on time. Or we are on time, for once. And in this episode, we are, well, I've been tweeting about it, and we didn't talk about it. We talked about it offline. We're going to talk about M. Night Shyamalan and his illustrious, or should I say at least colorful career. I think we're going to focus on from The Sixth Sense up until Split. And, focus on those, because he did do a couple of movies before that. He did Praying with Anger, which was his first movie, which I watched a little bit of. It's fine. And he did a movie called Wide Awake, but I didn't watch that. But his claim to fame was The Sixth Sense, so it's only appropriate that we start there. And so, yeah, we just like always, it's going to be mostly a general discussion about, well, the topic, which this time is M. Night Shyamalan. So I was thinking, since you had the idea, why don't you start? What is your opinion on well, I should say, it's Christopher we're talking about. You all know him.
Hello.
What is your opinion on M. Night Shyamalan?
Well, I used at the beginning of Sixth Sense Unbreakable, when they were just out, and he was the shit. I liked him. I didn't like him as much as most people did. I saw a lot of faults in his movies that people didn't, especially Signs and The Village. People really liked them. I never really got into them, but I appreciated it. It was fine movies. And then around Lady in the Water, The Happening, around there, I gave up on him totally. The movie that it's technically not him, he didn't direct it, but still his name on it, Devil.
Oh yeah.
That's the movie where I said, yeah, I'm done with this guy. He lost it. He only was like, it was just it was a fluke.
Yeah, okay.
He only had like 3 movies in him. And then I didn't care for him for years, and then Split came out, and I watched it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking maybe he's coming back. Maybe he has needed a few years to find his thing again.
Well, your opinion is pretty much what most people. You share the opinion of most people that his first 3 movies, his first 3 big movies, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs, are the best ones. Sort of already from the beginning, though, declining in quality. Because I would say the same. For me, Sixth Sense and Unbreakable are like at odds. I'm not really sure which one is my favorite. It used to be Sixth Sense, but as I've gotten older, I've really come to appreciate Unbreakable. And then Signs, I really, really like Signs, but it's definitely a step down in some ways. But I did watch it. I rewatched it. I rewatched a few of his movies before this. And it does do some things better than his first 2 movies. But I think overall, it is not as good a movie as the 2 first. And then, yes, like everyone else, The Village was good. That's also one I rewatched before this. But it does lack. It starts lacking there with like story and structure. But like visuals are still great and all that. So, for me, when I saw that in theaters, I was still like a big fan of him. But that was the first time I really felt when I watched The Village. That was the first time I felt like, no, he's slipping. Something's going on here. And one of the big signs of that was that I figured out the twist.
Mm.
I know
Yeah.
everybody talks about the twists. He's not all about twists, but in that movie there is a twist, and I figured it out. I think like halfway through, and I'm really bad for all the movies I watch. I'm really bad at predicting plot twists or plots in general because I watch it very like I'm very focused on the now in the movie. But that one is just something jumped out at me, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not something that would happen back then. Is this now? Oh, spoilers! If you haven't seen The Village, spoilers. It takes place in present day.
Well, I guess just now in the beginning, are we spoiling all the movies, or is it okay to spoil all of them?
Yes, I would say it is. It is
Okay.
because even Split is over a year old now. I mean, if
Yeah.
you haven't seen it, sorry, it's
Yeah.
really good. Stop watching this. Go watch that instead.
Well, okay. So an official spoiler warning
Yes, yes.
for his whole career.
Yes, we are spoiling M. Night Shyamalan's career. I'll even give you a second to click off because I got to go get my water. I forgot it. Hold on. Here we go. Ooh. I'm back.
Yeah. So, one thing, just when we were talking about the first, I would say the first era of M. Night, I would say, is Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, The Village. Those are the four, his first era in filmmaking. Those four movies.
I would cut it at Signs. Like that is his first. That
Really?
is like his. Yeah, because that is. I think those are the ones he did for Buena with Vista or Disney, and after that he switched.
I know. I'm putting it like I'm putting it those four movies because after that's like Lady in the Water. That's when people started talking bad about him. People loved The Village. People loved The Village.
Okay.
They thought it was a great movie. At least back then, I remember that people loved that movie. I remember people were angry at me for not liking it. I hated The Village.
Okay.
By the way, because it's my pet peeve. It's the same reason I hate the Babadook, which also everybody loves.
Oh my god, yes, you hate the Babadook. Okay.
Yeah, because I hate the twist where it never was a monster. Like if you're gonna put in a monster, and especially if we see the monster as you do in The Village, and then you just pull it away and say, "Haha, fooled you." Is it? Yeah, of course you did. You put a monster there. That's not clever. It's just stupid. It's like it's like you're it's like watching a horror movie and then in the end, nope, it was a comedy all along. You just didn't notice. It's like, yeah, but this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I wanted of the movie. It's not a good twist because I couldn't figure that twist that there wasn't actual monsters. You couldn't figure that out. You couldn't realize that before because there were no hints of it, and you actually saw
okay.
it.
Okay, you mean that because like every mystery movie, you're supposed to be able to figure it out.
Yeah,
but you can't.
And I say the Babadook has the same issue.
Well, the Babadook's a tangent. I know we've talked about this before.
I know.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And that okay, I just get it. That isn't really a twist. I mean, that's whatever. Well, we're not talking.
No,
about
we're not going to talk about it. But I mean,
okay.
So that's why I didn't like The Village, and people loved it.
I see what you mean with The Village. And I can respect your opinion, but I also disagree. That isn't the biggest problem for me with that movie. Like I said before, that has mostly to do with the fact that there isn't that much of a story. I mean, it's like an hour and 40 something.
Yeah.
And the only things that really happen are like they talk about the same issue over and over. The whole thing about, oh, why did we move here? Oh, well, this happened to my brother. This happened to my mother. This happened to whatever. And then you have the sort of love triangle in the beginning, and then Bryce Dallas Howard and Joaquin Phoenix decide to get married, and Adrian Brody's character doesn't like that, so he stabs Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's all that happens. The rest is like building the mood, which is good. It's building the mood, and there's like some detached like horror scenes. But there's not enough there story-wise to make a movie, I would say. Up until the ending. The ending works. And the twist sort of works, unless you figure it out.
I like the actual twist.
Yes,
I like that.
I like that too.
And it's I think it's really interesting and interesting how they shot it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's a static camera, and I think it's one take also.
When she's standing in the or when he is standing in the like ranger's office.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yes. That's one take, one scene. Well, they do cut in the end, but his speech is in one take.
No, and I think that's a good twist. But as you say, it's no story. The whole movie is the twist.
Sure. Yes.
There aren't really characters. There aren't really a storyline. It's just a road to the twist, and it's nothing more than that, really. Example, Sixth Sense also is a big twist, but the twist is not the big thing in the movie.
No, exactly. There is an actual story there. There's characters there.
Yeah.
And the whole ghost thing, spoilers once again, that is just the framework to hang the story about.
Yeah.
And that's a recurring theme I want to talk about a little later when we have briefly discussed the movies. It's about Bruce Willis's character like finding his place again, like getting back to his faith, if you will. Because he becomes faithless, not literally, but figuratively. He becomes faithless when he's shot by Mark Wahlberg's brother, Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Who gives the creepiest fucking character in that movie? He's
that's a really great performance.
Oh yes.
But I mean, and also The Sixth Sense, it's not only a story about Bruce Willis, it's a story about this kid and how he will, like, how he can handle day-to-day life, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots going on in that movie, and that's what makes it so good. You have the obvious story of him trying to help this child, which in and of itself is him like helping himself. And then you have the story of the child coming to terms with this gift he has, or curse, if you will. Well, he turns a curse into a gift. And then there's also the like meta plot about Bruce Willis coming back to his faith or finding his place again.
Yeah.
Coming to terms with what he is. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, so Sixth Sense is a great movie. It's one of those, like, it's a staple in movie culture and movie history, I would say. It's an important movie. It's up there with like The Matrix, or what it is, I would say.
Yeah. I would say it's not as genre defining as The Matrix is, but I get what you're saying. I mean, it's the movie. I remember thinking, I don't know if it was Newsweek or Hollywood Report, but some magazine, when that movie came out and it was like lauded by everyone, they had a big picture of him on the front, on the cover, and it just said "The next Spielberg?" question mark. And it's like, oh my god! After his first like major movie, and you got to think though, just quickly, that had to put a lot of pressure on him.
Oh yeah, and I think the worst thing for him was that his next movie is, in my opinion, better than his first.
Okay.
Unbreakable. I think Unbreakable is better, but I mean. So he has all this pressure, and then another hit that's as good or even better than the first one, and like the pressure from that, and especially if you don't, I think he's a good small movie director, like a small story, a small thing, and Science is also a small movie, really.
Yeah, it almost completely takes place on that farm with those 4 people.
Yeah, and that's what happening after Signs. He started making bigger and bigger movies.
Yes,
which he's not good at.
No. I agree. I especially thought about that when I saw The Happening or rewatched The Happening.
Yeah.
The focus is on Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, but there's a lot of people. There's like scenes where a lot of people don't really have a lot to do,
Mm.
and he wants to insert his quirkiness because his character's
Yeah.
always very quirky, but he tries to insert that into different characters, like the hot dog guy or the lady with the
Yeah.
phone in The Happening. It's it takes away from the movie, especially in that one, and
Mhm.
but also in The Village, but not as much.
Yeah.
And yeah, going forward, I suppose. What just quickly, because what is your opinion on The Happening? Because I think that's one of his most
Oh,
divisive movies.
it's one of the greatest comedies of all
Yes,
time.
that's what I thought when I rewatched it. I laughed so much.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yes, and some scenes. I know that some scenes, and this is also a pattern in his movies. Some scenes are supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
They're like deliberately weird. You know, they're supposed to be funny. Like you're supposed to like
Yeah,
what?
no, it's like a release after tension, so we can
Yes,
get back to
exactly.
the tension
he,
kind of
he
thing.
does he does that a lot also in Signs, but he does it a lot better in Signs.
Mm.
But then there are some scenes in The Happening where I just out loud to myself like, what? Wait, what? And the dialogue is weird. Everyone talks in such a strange way, and like I
Yeah.
said, all these quirky characters. That movie is so weird. I do, however, like the premise. I think the premise is really creepy, but
Well,
it's handled terribly.
No, I would say no to that. I mean, I like the premise before you know what it is. People are
Mm.
just killing themselves. That's an interesting premise. But when they start to explain it, that's when it's like, no, this does not work at all. It's not plausible. It's not like it doesn't work. Like you can't outrun the wind. That's not how it works.
No, okay, I agree to that. That is
Yeah,
silly.
and I
But I
mean,
think the whole thing about plants turning on people, I think the way they explain it, of course, it's very like overdone in the movie.
uh,
But the way they explain it, they're like trying to ground it in reality, and it is sort of grounded in reality. I think that part works. But yes, like outrunning the wind is
yeah,
that is
but I
ridiculous.
mean, still though, I can't think of the only way you could make that premise work. That the plants evolved to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that's if the movie is set in like 100 200 years in the future. You can't like it's an on switch and now everything's happening at the same time.
No, and that's the
Uh,
that's the science fiction part of it.
yeah, and
Um,
that doesn't work for me.
no. It doesn't work for me either. Just I think it's an interesting premise. That just
Um,
doesn't really work,
yeah.
unfortunately. Um, but like the first scenes in Central Park when people
Oh
start
yeah.
killing themselves, it's really really creepy. I remember
Mhm.
I saw that in the theater as well. It was like, God, that's really creepy.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer when they showed those things.
Yeah.
Well, not as in depth, but you saw cuts of it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be great! I think I'm gonna forgive M Night for everything he made because this looks amazing." And then I saw it, and it was hilariously bad.
hmm Yes, it is, and yeah, like I said, with the dialogue and some of the acting, Mark Wahlberg just there's such weird choices.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end when he talks to the old lady in the house. You remember those? When
What?
she's like,
No.
yes, exactly. And then look, it's like he wasn't prepared. It feels like he wasn't prepared for the scene.
Yeah.
And the lady is just standing. Oh, you're going to kill me in my sleep and steal my things. And he's like, no, what? It's like, and he almost looks at M Night like, are we filming? Or no, lady, please. I'm an
Yeah.
actor. I'm a thief.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with the direction of the
No.
actors because I mean everyone is horrible. Nobody acts like a person, and it's so consistently bad that it must have been like a conscious choice.
It
I mean,
yeah, it feels like that.
because like even a mediocre actor, and then there are good actors in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, even a mediocre actor like can convey an emotion even by mistake. But here it's like M Night Kevin. No, less emotions and weirder emotions, and like it's it's so yeah. I don't know what happened and how did it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, that's super weird. That is super weird. But uh, if we're going to talk about bad acting, we have to go back a movie, which is also another ensemble movie,
Mm,
Lady in the Water.
yeah,
There is one good performance in that, and that's Paul Giamatti. I think he's
yeah.
good. The
I
rest
mean,
are terrible.
I haven't seen that movie in a few years now.
Ugh, I paid
I'm
to
not
watch it.
I'm not preparing for these live streams as you do.
No, I usually
But
don't prepare this much. I was just excited about this topic. So.
uh, but I remember I liked Lady in the Water first time, actually. First time I saw it. Um, and that there was I rewatched it later and realized how bad it was actually.
Mm.
But it has an interesting feeling to the movie. It's like fairy tale feeling. I think he really captures,
Yes, I
and
would agree to that.
that's what I like about it because it's so it doesn't pretend to be grounded in reality.
No.
It's like in the first like 5-10 minutes, it's like, yeah, okay, this is a fairy tale. And the movie comes out and say it. These characters come from the real world. They're not there anymore. Let's go with it. And I like that. But yes, there's a lot of problems in it. There's like no good exposition. It's like a personal vendetta against critics, and he writes himself as the savior of the universe, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of weird things going on.
Yeah, that movie is probably of his of his personal movies, if you will.
Yeah.
That is probably my least favorite.
Mm.
And you were talking about no like bad exposition.
Mm.
Uh, there is, however, even if it's bad, there is a lot of exposition in that movie. I mean, scenes like just stop in their tracks because he gets a phone call from the Japanese lady, who
Hmm.
just like she keeps on telling this fairy tale that her mother told her about the Narvs and the Eatlon and whatever they're called, all those creep creatures, and she like tells him she tells him like 10% of the time, like, oh, this and this and this, and you shouldn't mess with the ape things in the trees, and I gotta go now, bye. And then
Okay.
20 minutes goes on, and then another one, she tells you more, and there's just these terrible exposition scenes that are they're just exposition.
Okay, I'll rephrase it. There's no good exposition in the
No,
movie.
no, exactly.
Because
That's what I
it's
thought you
it,
mean.
yeah,
Meant.
because it's just I remember. Isn't it like in the beginning? There's like this the fantasy thing with their speaking voice tells of the old legend of something.
Oh yeah, there's like an animated opening telling
Yeah,
you the background, which is
yeah,
fine because you gotta establish some of it.
yeah. But I mean, both in that and this fairy tale that the Japanese woman is telling, it's not explaining anything. It's just telling you. It's not like these people exist now. Why? Who are they? Where they come from?
Yeah,
How? Is it? No, they are now. And it's just it's that's what I mean with no exposition because it tells you things exist and tells you things, but it
but
doesn't
not why.
explain anything.
No, no,
It doesn't
exactly. Yeah, it's
doesn't
bad
go deeper.
exposition.
Yeah. So that's what I meant.
It's just telling you what you need to know for now, instead of like making us aware, like instead of world building and making
Yeah.
you aware of what has to happen and what they have to do and who
Yeah.
has to do what. It's just telling you this has to happen now, and then this has to happen, and then this has to
Yeah.
happen, and it's so boring.
Yeah.
It's so fucking boring. And I that was the movie. By the way, the village was under Buena Vista. They still believed in him then,
Yeah.
but I know they did not want him to make Lady in the Water, and I can see why.
Yeah.
They were like, no, we don't believe in this story. And I was like, what? Okay, I'll go somewhere else then. And I think that they became sort of like an ego thing.
Yeah.
And it feels like watching that movie and watching some interviews and stuff. His ego had been building. I mean, all the way back from The Sixth Sense. Like we said, they start out by saying, "Is he the next Spielberg?"
Mm.
and then just like ramping it up from there. And it became, the ego overwhelmed him with Lady in the Water. And then I think he like tried to pull it back with The Happening, but it just became weird.
But the reason we started with Lady in the Water, you said bad acting. Is it bad acting in it? I don't remember bad acting actually.
Um, well,
It's not good acting, but I don't remember anything
yeah,
worse
okay,
than
yeah,
happening.
maybe it's not bad acting, but I mean what I mean the characters
Oh yeah.
are it's bad characters, and by definition or by that point, that the acting can't save the characters. That's what I
Mm,
mean. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not really bad acting.
No, it's just that most of the characters in that movie, maybe all of them even, are extremely two-dimensional. They have, this is the character with the big arm. This is the character
Ugh,
that hates. This is the character is the critic. This is the. I mean, there's nothing more than
no, and
that.
they only exist because they need these characters in the end
Yeah,
for her to leave this world.
it's little like characters in a slasher movie.
Yeah, sort of.
Uh,
Ugh. Yeah, that movie is strange. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities about that movie.
no.
And the CGI effects unfortunately has dated. They've aged pretty poorly as well. I remember it looked kind of cool when I saw it in theaters, but rewatching it now, I was like, no,
Mhm.
that's silly.
That's the same thing in Signs too. CGI is really bad in that one too. It
Yeah,
didn't
but
age
this
well.
no, but it's so little of it. It's only in
Yeah,
the end.
yeah,
It's forgivable, but
yeah.
yeah,
It's
I see what you mean.
fortunate. Science is also one that I'm not a big fan of.
Well, that was the first one I rewatched.
Hmm.
When I started rewatching his movies, I didn't watch them all, but I watched the ones I haven't seen in a while. So I started with that one,
Hmm.
and it is. I also thought that it was the weakest of his first three. It
Hmm.
still is, but I definitely found it much more interesting now than I did like a few years ago when I watched it last. Because I think his the whole ego trip was at its peak then. It
Mm.
was before it got like too big and too weird. Like he was fully in control of like, yes, I am a great director, I'm a great writer. I'm gonna write this great story about a priest losing his faith, but I'm gonna do it like about aliens also. And everything clicks, everything works. It's and after that comes the village, which is like, no, it doesn't really work, and then it all just crashing down
I
with
think
Lady in the Water.
my issue with Science is the I think the script is extremely lacking, and it should have gone through a few rewrites, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a lot of weird plot holes, and I know what he was going for with like the coincidence is an act of God and things like that, and it's fate. But there are so many coincidences. It's almost like laughable because there's so many things all the time.
Could, could you give me an example? Because
Well, the water thing, for example.
yeah, well, we never really know
Oh
why the aliens are on the planet
no, no,
on our planet.
yeah, no. I mean the
Or what do you
water
mean?
with
Oh,
the water glasses of water. Like, oh, it was God who made her do it, and then that the last word of her of the wife was swing, and it meant something, and there are so many of these small things all the time, and it's grating for me to watch because
okay.
it does it it's such a leap of faith to be immersed in a world like
Exactly. Sorry, but
yeah,
that's
I mean,
exactly what it is.
yeah, and that's
That's the whole theme of the movie, though.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
what
I'm
makes
I
it so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know what he went for, but I don't buy it because it's
oh,
so
okay.
much of it. It's
Oh, okay.
so much of it. If you have toned it down a bit and like, okay, do we all need all like this list of coincidences and fate things? Don't we just need like three, maybe? It's these things that's grating for me to watch the movie, and also extremely plot hole of why are the aliens allergic to water and why do they come to a world that's 90% water, and it's
Okay.
stupid. It's a lot of stupid things in that movie.
Well, I gotta defend it a little bit because I found it really engrossing when I watched it. Now, like there aren't that many signs in the movie. You have the her drinking a lot of water and putting the glasses down. That's one.
Mm.
You have the swing away thing. That's two. Um,
I think
and
it's, and also there's this. It's really like if you overanalyze it a bunch, but it's also like, wait, so God killed her wife so she could give that message? So God ruined the veterinarian's life and killed someone? Is
well,
that what we're is that what he's trying to say? It's
that is extremely over analytic
yeah.
because the movie isn't outright saying like these are signs from God. That is, they're there
Mm,
for Mel Gibson's character to interpret.
yeah.
Which in turn, yeah, they're a little bit on the nose, but that's because not only does we have to interpret them, he has to interpret them as well, and we have to understand that he can see them as signs. But we have those two, and then we have Rory Culkin's the son's asthma.
Mhm.
Those are really the three big ones, and
Oh
then
yeah, asthma. Yeah, I forgot about the
yeah,
asthma thing.
so
Yeah.
when he sprays the poison in him, it
Yeah.
doesn't really get down
Yeah.
into his lungs. So that's like the big three one. The big three one.
Mhm.
That is not proper English. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, and then the whole thing about um believing before they actually see the aliens that he doesn't believe they're aliens. The rest of the family, they're convinced pretty quickly, but he doesn't believe because he doesn't believe anymore.
Yeah.
But that's only that's like the four big signs, if you will. And I think they work because they're constantly like in the background of the movie all of the
Mm.
time, so that when it all comes together in the end, it just clicks. At least it did for me. It wasn't grading for me.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I
And
can understand why it is for some, but for me it wasn't.
I will say it's only not the first time because I didn't know the things. It's the
Okay.
second time you see it when you notice these things. That's when it's grading for me. The first time it worked. I liked it the first time, but after that, every time I see it, it's like, oh, And also, I think the concept of faith and Christianity and these questions that the movie is saying, questioning, you
Posing?
need, yeah, exactly, proposing it. It needs a lot more weight than I think M. Night is capable of producing. I I don't think he thought it all through, and I think that's what I mean more rewrites because it's such a heavy thing, and you need to be careful with and questioning these things. And
Okay.
I don't think the movie does that. Do it justice. The heavy subject matter.
I'll okay. I don't want to like gotcha, but you should rewatch it.
Yeah, yeah. I should. I
Yeah,
should.
you should
I
rewatch
haven't.
it.
I haven't seen it in a while because I didn't like it
Yeah.
last time I saw it. But yeah, I should rewatch. I should rewatch all of his
Well.
movies. Well, okay, maybe not all of them, but the good ones.
Yes, you really should because I think I'm like actually, Christopher. No, not like that. But I mean, I think you might interpret it differently. No,
Possibly.
because for me it was like with age because I hadn't seen it in years. With age, it felt like I understood it better now.
Yeah. Oh, I can give it a chance. So
Yeah.
we've been talking about the rise of M. Night. How
Yes.
about the fall?
Yes, we touched briefly on the fall, and the fall for me, like it really happened with the Lady in the Water, and then it just for and
Yeah.
for you it was the happening. It was
Yeah.
that period of time,
Mhm.
and then
Well, no. Lady in the Water is the fall for me. That's for the
okay.
start. Yeah. His first era, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Science Village, good. Well,
Yes.
mostly good.
Yeah.
And then Lady in the Water, that's when then it all went to hell.
Yeah, because like I said, yeah, his ego just flowed over
Hmm.
with Lady in the Water, and then he tried to like pull it back, but he wasn't really sure what he was doing with the happening,
Hmm.
and then he became a director for hire um, with the Last Airbender, Avatar.
Yeah, I haven't seen it,
No,
so this is you on your own for this
yes,
movie.
and and I haven't really seen it either. I started watching it, and like I told you before, I woke up, I was well rested, and I was like, yes, today is the day I am watching The Last Airbender. I put it on. I watched 10 minutes of it, and I was like, this movie is stupid, and I kind of like laid back a little bit, and I because that movie is terrible.
But what is it of the 10 minutes you've seen? Uh, is it just boring, or is it what is the bad? Why is it so bad from what you've seen?
It feels, and that kind of like works with the whole narrative of his career. It feels like he didn't care, and
Hmm?
it's just what it feels like for me. I don't want to come down too hard on him because I haven't said this. I really respect him as a director. I should say that before I start shitting on him too much. I respect him as a director, but it feels like he just didn't care when he made that movie. That was just like a paid gig. Like,
I
oh wait,
did I did hear, maybe that was just PR, but I did hear that he really loved the series, that he was like passionate of the TV show.
yeah, I've heard that too, and I haven't watched that much behind the scenes stuff about it. I watched it when it was new. I saw some of it, but it doesn't feel like that.
Mm.
And he's not really an action director, and that movie is sort of an action adventure. The like fight scenes and some of the action comes off really strange, and it has the problem that Lady in the Water has. There's a lot of exposition, a lot of like people just talking,
Hmm.
and it's really boring. I'm like yeah, I haven't seen the original show, but I think the premise of that story, the premise works better as a TV show because there's a lot of stuff that has to be explained,
I
which
gotta say that I like that. I haven't seen it, but it works better.
yeah, but just watching that movie feels like this needs more time to explain things. You can't do that in a movie.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this is a TV show. That makes
Mm.
sense. Sort of like that.
Yeah.
Um, and but the biggest problem is that it just feels like nobody cared about that movie, which is weird. Um, and like judging from where he was in his career at that point, that might be a factor that he was like not really into it as much as he was before. This wasn't really his project. Um, I think he was involved in the writing, but it wasn't his script. Like things like that.
Mm.
Let's see.
It does say.
Well, actually, the Last Airbender, he he directed, produced, wrote, and acted in it. So, but it
Mm.
doesn't feel like it has a completely different like vibe than his other movies before that.
Hmm. I think it's the same. I haven't seen it, but I do think that could have been, as we touched on before, that he's not good at making big movies, and this is a big story.
Yes,
That he
exactly.
just he was not capable of it. Maybe he felt that himself during filming and during production, that I can't do this. I'm not good at it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and that is a sign. That like his worst movies are the ones that are like bigger, that have a bigger scope,
Hmm.
more characters, bigger like canvas.
Yeah.
Or they're definitely his worst movies.
Hmm.
But yeah, I can't really talk too much about that because I didn't finish it because it was boring.
Next one. As I said
Next,
before, happening. The happening.
yes,
That's when I stopped watching. So I
yeah.
haven't seen a few movies, of these coming. So After Earth, I haven't seen that either. I read a lot and I've seen a lot of reviews of it. So
Mm,
I have a good grasp on the movie, but I haven't actually seen it.
no. I watched it in the theater. I'm not really sure why because it looked silly in the trailers, but I think I was still like maybe this time he'll do good.
Hmm.
Um, but once again, even though once again he wrote, produced, and directed it, but from what I hear, the story wasn't his from the beginning. That was
No,
like something Will Smith had like come up with, and he
Yeah.
like called M Night Shyamalan like, "Hey, you want to do this movie for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he did some rewrites.
Yeah, and I also saw like a few interviews. Maybe that's just Will Smith being Will Smith, but where he was talking about like that he was like co-directing it, even if it's not his name on it. That he told M Night what to do and what to shoot, and that he like took over the production more or less.
Yes, I can definitely see that like being a thing,
Yeah,
because that whole movie is just one big vanity project
yeah,
for Will Smith and his son. That's like what he's like, he says that in interviews, that he asked his son like, oh, do you want to become an actor, right? He's like, I guess, because when he was like 15, 16 then.
mhm,
Um, and it just felt like he wanted his son to be as successful as he was.
yeah,
So he just threw a bunch of money at this movie, and he made this big, like, and it feels very like it feels like it's based on a YA novel, a young adult novel. Like they wanted to cash in on the whole like Twilight craze and the Harry Potter craze. It's like we'll
yeah,
make our own that kind of movie, but it
yeah.
just doesn't work, because once
So
again, not a lot happens in that movie.
from what I hear, what I've read, I would say this is not a movie where you can blame M Night. I think M Night
Not
could have
really.
made. I think M Night could have made this story good because it's only two characters really, and it's it's a big setting, but it's not a lot of things happening.
No,
And I think he could have made a good movie, but I think it's just speculation. But I think Will Smith ruined this movie, and also Jaden Smith is not that good of an actor.
no,
Also,
he is not.
unfortunately. So I think I think the Smiths destroyed the movie,
Yeah.
not M Night.
Yes, it definitely feels like that is the movie he was the least involved in.
Yeah,
Um, he basically just directed it, and he put his name on the script. It feels
yeah,
like, um, and yeah, like I said, nothing happens in that movie. It's just Jaden Smith walking around, running from animals, and it's the whole thing. Yeah, he has to stop being afraid. Yeah, we get that. That fills about 20 minutes of screen time. The rest is just filler,
yeah,
unfortunately. Because the main thrust of the story is pretty good. That he has to like he has to embrace his fear and not let it like control him. That part's fine, but it is so minuscule in the movie that yeah, like I said, it's just a bunch of filler. It's super boring. Um, so yeah. And let's briefly talk about Devil, since that's not really his movie. He just that he literally only put his name on it. He didn't write it. He didn't direct it. He just produced it.
Yeah.
But that was supposed to be his like anthology series where he let like young horror directors do their own like thrillers and horror movies. And I like Devil.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you do. I don't remember. No, you didn't.
No, I stopped watching at the happening because
Sure.
what was going on. And then there was a movie that, from my point of view, there was a movie based on an anime, and I was like, ugh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And then there's a Will Smith movie about his kid going around in the jungle. I was like, ugh, come on, I'm not interested in that. And then Devil, that trailer looked very interesting because it was M Night. There's gonna be a cool twist.
Yeah.
There was gonna be a small collection of characters in a small space, and it looked at least like it was mostly going to be dialogue, and it looked interesting. Like it's just going to be mind games and people talking to each other, and it's going to be an interesting thing like that. And then I saw the movie.
What was it you didn't like specifically? What was it you didn't like about it?
I think most of the characters are such cliches. It's not even fun. Like the alcoholic cop that needs redemption, and then the Mexican person who, for some reason, knows everything about supernatural things.
Oh yeah.
And then like everyone, then that's not even the people in the elevator. That's also cliches. Like I barely remember the people, but they're cliches, everyone.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, this is kind of bad. It's kind of bad writing in the characters. Dialogue is kind of good, but the right characters are bad. I can live with this. And then came the twist.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like that twist.
Do you remember what I said before? A twist, you need to be able to figure it out before.
Yeah, I know.
And this movie said, fuck you. It's like, come on. And that's again when I said, okay, I gave you a chance, M. Night. I'm done with you. Forever this time.
Well,
So, yeah.
I didn't rewatch Devil. I think I'm
Mhm.
gonna do that tonight actually because I like the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, the twist is impossible. It is literally impossible to predict
Yeah.
because spoilers. The one lady comes back to life. They kill her off almost like the first character that dies. But oh no, that was just a ruse because that was the devil or some like person the devil has control over. Yeah, that's kind of silly. But I think the premise of like the devil collecting these characters and like giving them one last chance to redeem himself without them really knowing it because he's the devil, he's an asshole. I think that works, and I think the dynamics between the characters work. And yeah, that's the thing with a few of his movies. That you kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. Like, it's not really a movie about the devil coming back. It's about like people getting a second chance.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't hold up. I can objectively it doesn't hold up, but I like those aspects of the movie. And I think just quickly those two brothers. Oh damn, I can't remember their names. Wow, I have them here. Because there were two brothers that directed it and wrote it. I think.
Oh right. I'm just checking. The devil came before After Earth. Okay.
Yes. Well, no, they didn't write it, but it was the Dowdle brothers, John Eric Dowdle and what's the other guy name called? Oh, the Drew Dowdle. The Dowdle brothers. They made some interesting movies after that, which is just this. But that's also just a tangent because that has nothing to do with M. Night. But I don't know. Did you see the movie As Above, So Below? What it was called? The one about the catacombs.
Oh no, I know of it, but I didn't see it.
It's actually pretty good, I think, for a movie like that. As Above, So Below. And then they made the weird like everything is dangerous in a foreign country movie called No Escape with what's the guy called? God damn it! Wow, Owen Wilson, which which I also kind of like. I kind of like that movie. I like those brothers as directors and producers. But anyway.
So the devil, yeah. So to rewrite history, the last Arab, I hadn't given up on him at the happening. I just didn't want to see Last Airbender because it was anime, and then the devil. That's when I gave up.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, after after the happening.
Devil.
And Devil sort of around that time I also sort of gave up on him. It's like no, he's not coming back. He's just gonna do crap after this.
Yeah.
I watched After Earth and was like, yeah, I was right. It's just crap. And then a few years went by, and not that many, but it felt like, I mean, when he did The Visit, it felt like he's been gone for so long, but it's only been 2 years since After Earth.
Yeah.
But then The Visit came. I didn't watch it right away. I saw it like a year later or something on streaming.
I will see it. I am going to see it. I was planning on seeing it before the stream, but I wasn't able to. But I will see it.
You should. However, that movie is like, that is all the just so you're prepared. Just imagine all the quirks of a good M. Night Shyamalan movie, like the sort of weird dialogue, the quirky characters, the like weird like injections of comedy into the horror. All of those things are just ramped up to 11. That movie is nuts. when it comes to
The,
those aspects. Just that.
the only thing I don't know much about the movie, but I do know the twist.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little ruined for me.
It is a
I
little
think.
ruined because that is, yeah, he kind of went back to the twist thing.
Yeah.
It's still a good movie without the twist. But the first time I watched it, it was like, oh yeah, like when the twist happened.
Yeah. Because I mean, when The Visit came out, then I was fully given up on M. Night. Wasn't intended to see any of his movies, and then I was talking to someone who, when had seen The Visit and talked about it, and said, "Can I spoil it?" I'm just, yeah, I'm never gonna see it anyway.
Oh, okay.
So, and then apparently people now say it's a good movie. So wow.
Yeah, when it first came out, I didn't really care about it because it was a Blumhouse movie. When it does all the paranormal activity, so I didn't really care about it. I didn't even know it was a Shyamalan movie until I actually watched it.
Okay.
Or I think I heard about it, and that was why I watched it a year later. So it's very unassuming because it doesn't feel like, that's weird. In one way, it doesn't feel like a Shyamalan movie because it's found footage. So it has almost none of those like long static shots and like one takes. Yeah, it has the kind of regular found footage visual kind of language. But then you have all these, like I said, the quirky humor, the quirky characters, and the weird dialogue, and all that, like I said, ramped up to 11, which makes it extremely weird to watch. but in a good way, because like, this is so weird, I have to keep watching. And unlike The Happening, it actually turns out that it's weird, but it's good. The Happening is just weird but bad. Another thing I read up on that is that when they cut the movie, he cut it 3 ways, and that's kind of, you kind of notice that in the final like version of the movie, because he cut one version that was all comedy, which is super weird. I would like to see that because the premise is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So how he turned that into a like pure comedy, I don't know, but and then there's one that is pure horror, which I could more easily understand. And then there's the mix between the two, like comedy and horror, and that's what they put out in theaters and on DVD. And you can really tell that because sometimes it almost feels like 2 different movies. Like, it's super funny and then it becomes super like creepy.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, and yeah, you should really watch it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, oh man, I really like this. I can't wait for his next movie. I hope it's not bad. And that was Split.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What is your opinion? What is your opinion of Split?
I really, really like Split. I don't love it. It's not as good as his old movies. Because I think like by now he's into his 3rd phase, his more like humble phase, if you will, like his back to reality phase. He was in like weird land there with The Happening and After Earth and all that, and now with The Visit and Split, he's like, okay, he's realized where he is.
Yeah,
he's come to terms with who he is.
Yeah. So I saw Split. That was the first I saw since Devil of M. Night, and I saw it purely because James McAvoy was the star of it. Because James McAvoy is one of those actors that never gives a bad performance. He's always great.
Yeah.
And he's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I decided, yeah, I will see this because of him, not because M. Night. I've given up on you.
Yeah.
So I saw it. So my expectations were really low. Were extremely low.
Yeah, mine were. I was kind of guarding my expectations, so they were kind of low as well.
Yeah, mine was at the bottom. I thought, yeah, it's gonna be fun to see James McAvoy, but the movie's gonna suck.
Okay.
Since I haven't seen The Visit, and I just assumed everything was bad. So
okay.
So I really loved it. I thought it was a great movie for what it was, and I'm all aboard now. The M. Night ship. I'm ready for adventure.
Yes. But yeah, briefly going back to like why I think that movie is good. It's because he's not trying to do like this like uh, big like story about
Mm.
faith or like coming to terms with the world and blah blah blah. It's not. It's not like those first three movies. It's not that. I don't want to say pretentious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like those movies were like, oh yeah, it's a ghost story, but it's actually about finding out who you really are. Oh, it's an alien invasion movie, but it's actually about finding your faith. Oh, it's a superhero movie, but it is actually like finding out that you are flawed. Split isn't that. Split is just this guy is crazy, and he kidnaps these three girls, and now they gotta get out of there.
Yeah.
It's like a B movie, but he does it really really well.
Yeah.
There are
And
hints. There are hints of like the subplot about her being abused as a child, and that's why she survives and why she understands him.
mhm.
There's hints of that, but it's not as like front and center as it was in those first three movies.
Yeah.
It's more focused on the plot at hand and like how crazy he is, and that's
And
why I
I,
think it works.
and I also really like that it actually it for me at least it gives a lot to the movie that it is a sequel.
Okay, that was neither here nor there for me. I mean,
Okay.
I like the fact that it is a sequel because you know it works as its own movie.
Yeah, yeah,
First
it
of all,
totally does.
yeah.
But I think it gets a few points for being a sequel because uh, it's a world that we already have established, so a lot of things fall into place, so to speak.
Okay. Okay.
We already know that the world that this movie is set in, does not follow exactly by our rules in our world, and we know
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So that helps a lot to get into the movie, I think.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'll reserve judgment whether or not it works as this like franchise until I've
Mhm.
seen Glass,
Yeah.
because that's the first one that's like really gonna like meld those two, and
Yeah.
we'll see if that works. I'm really excited about it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Have you
me
seen
too.
Have you seen that poster with the three characters on it? It's just
No,
basically like just photoshopped.
oh no.
But it is an official like poster, and it looks like a superhero movie.
Like,
They all have like distinctive colors, and they're standing like in cool hero poses. It's just this glass. It looks awesome. um,
I need to look it up.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, I really like that. It's not really a twist. It's just a like haha in the end of the movie, or it's after the credits even.
Mhm.
I really like that, and also because it's going to be fun to see Bruce Willis might act, kind of care about acting again because he hasn't done that in a while.
Mhm.
I haven't seen a Bruce Willis movie where he like looks interested at all since 2012, and before that, I hadn't seen it for years. Like before that,
Yeah.
it feels like he acted in Looper. Like he wanted to act in that movie, but that's like the only one in years. So I'm excited for that, and also to see if they pull it off, and it just doesn't just become a stupid action movie like all
Oh,
these
I
franchise things are.
I don't think that's a. I know that can't happen.
I know it really can't, because the first one is like a thriller drama, the second is like a straight up thriller,
Yeah.
so it can't become a stupid action movie. But I'm like, what if like, oh, we gotta have a little bit of action because it's those two squaring off, and then in the next movie it's like full on action movie. I'm a
I.
little. I don't really think it's gonna happen, but somewhere in the back of my mind is like, what if it happens? What if they ruin it? No. Like I hate franchises. That's why I'm really
Yeah,
scared of it.
I
Talk
know,
about this.
but I think M Night only want to make 3 movies and then
I
he's
hope so.
done.
I hope so. Yeah.
Maybe that there will be like bad sequels by production company.
Where he's not in control anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's also like
but
something you have to
that's
worry
not.
about.
Yeah, but that's not a problem. You don't need to see those. Those aren't
Well,
canon, so to
I
speak.
suppose.
Uh,
Um, but yeah. So that's coming out like next year. I read some tweets from him that he is like he has edited the movie like completely all the way through. He's edited it 5 times, and he's like hoping for like 8 passes to like do it 8 times over, just to like, keep cutting down, which is interesting. I've never,
Yeah.
and he says that he does that on all his movies. It's just something that got stuck in my head because maybe that's something people do. I don't edit like that, but
I know M Night have a lot of weird, not weird, unusual post production practices with editing.
okay.
Editing movies, like you said in the visit, editing different versions of the movie and going through it several times. I remember he did that with his first movies too, like even back in Sixth Sense and The Village and so on. He did that over
Okay.
there too.
Yeah.
I'm Yeah, I'm not certain in what way, but I know he cut at least one completely different version of Signs. I know
Oh, I didn't know that. I
that
know
never
he
was
like.
released.
Yeah,
So,
okay. I watched the behind the scenes about of that movie because I have it
mm,
on DVD. Yeah, he I know he wrote one version of the script, and then
mhm.
he like made a completely different version of the script, but in
No,
storyboards. So I know they
yeah,
did like two different versions of the scripts.
yeah, but he always done that because I think he's just such a perfectionist
Mm,
in some way, especially in post production. I don't know. Um, it works for him most of the time,
sure. Yeah.
so it's good.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a usual thing for other directors.
No, maybe not. Yeah, it stuck out to me when I read that tweet. I was like,
No.
oh, on my 5th pass editing Glass now. I was like, wow, so it's finished? Yeah. Are you going to show it to us? No. I'm going to edit it 500 times. Damn you. But yeah, if that's what he has to do to make it good, then keep doing it,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like his career in his movies. Like when we touched a little bit on how he is as a person with the whole ego thing, because I think that's the biggest thing if you watch behind the scenes stuff and interviews, that there was a lot of ego involved, like before 2010 or 2009 when he did the Lady in the Water and the Happenings. They kind of happened in quick succession. So it's like there's 2 years between those movies. Yeah, 2007, 2009. Yeah, exactly. But before that, then there was this theme, and that's why I think the first phase of his career are those 3 movies, The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs, is because there is this recurring theme of faith, which is present in his other movies as well. There's always the faith is always a presence. I mean, his first movie is called Praying with Anger. It's about finding, like literally finding your faith. I don't know, y'all. Yeah, have you seen it? Praying with
No,
Anger?
oh no,
No,
I
okay.
haven't seen anything before Sixth Sense.
Oh, okay. But then, yeah, this movie's literally about finding your faith, and that's something he comes back to. I haven't read. I don't know in his personal life if he is like religious or anything. I don't know that.
No idea. I don't know much about his private life at all,
No, which
actually.
is which is in some ways good, but for
Yeah.
but for a stream like this, it would be good to know. But it doesn't really. No, they don't really talk about it. But like, if you judge based on his movies, even the other one he did, Praying with Anger, and then he did Wide Awake a few years later. That's also a movie about faith. So I think like that's what makes those movies feel kind of personal, because it feels like faith is a big part of his life.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why those movies work better than the ones where he's just a director for hire, because they're not really his movies. They don't have this aspect of faith, and that's kind of why his movies now also work, because he has realized that, oh, the whole faith thing, maybe it's not as important to have that. I realize now that I'm just making like fun, interesting movies. And with After Earth and The Last Airbender, he was kind of bummed out that he didn't get to do the kind of themes that he was used to doing. So yeah, it feels like his his career and his life is very easy to interpret. I'm not sure what I'm saying is right. I can't know that. I don't know the guy, but it feels like it's very easy to interpret it that way, and therefore it feels accurate, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what's interesting. Why it's interesting to follow his career because of these things, and also um, because there's such a divide between like his first movies are amazing, then he was like he disappeared into these terrible movies, and nobody cared about him, and then he just popped back with with Split, really, where people was like, oh, this is the Shyamalan we remember, and now he's like back in everyone's graces. It's I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, me too. He was a good voice back in the days.
Yeah.
And then I hope we'll get like a second golden age from him, a new era of good movies from him.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so
Because
too.
he's a good director at the core of it. He is a good director.
Oh yes, yes.
He knows what he's doing.
I mean, just going by numbers, he's made more good movies than bad movies. It's just his bad movies are really bad.
Yeah.
Ugh. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Glass, because it's also good that you want to talk about this, because yeah, like I said, I was getting more interested in him again after Split, but it was like, yeah, okay, Split was good, I'm waiting for Glass. But then last week when you said, oh, maybe we should talk about M. Night Shyamalan, I started rewatching all his movies and watching interviews and stuff, and I realized, oh, this is the M. Night Shyamalan I remember. Oh, I wish he was like this all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, but it's like I've rediscovered him, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't think I over exaggerate when I say that he is one of the directors that made me really like movies.
Yeah.
See movies like an art form and a passion. I think he was one of the driving directors.
Yeah, because even at a young age, like, I mean, I was 9 when I saw The Sixth Sense the first time when it came out on VHS. But then when you saw, like, a couple of years later, when I saw Unbreakable also on VHS, it was like, oh yeah, this looks and feels like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes.
And I've never done that with any other. I'd never done that with any other directors, like, works before that. Still don't do it.
Actually care who made the movie.
Yes, exactly.
Like another of those directors is Quentin Tarantino, where you like can feel that it's a Quentin movie.
Yes.
Get the feeling, and you can follow their work and see how they evolve.
Yeah,
and
they have a certain style, a certain way of telling a story, and you really feel that this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. This is a Tarantino movie. But I would say even more with Shyamalan, because there are, just as with his career, there are certain there are certain things that just directly, like, oh, this is Shyamalan, like the static shots, the kind of deadpan delivery of dialogue, all these things. When you see him, it's like, oh, M. Night directed this. Yeah. Right, I get it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun rediscovering him as a director. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? I am kind of.
Yeah, I think I got everything that I wanted to say about M. Night. Yeah, I'm glad you're back.
Yes.
Don't do The Happening again.
Don't do The Happening again. Take your time, because that's also something. Oh, I should just say really, really quickly. Like, he is a very prolific filmmaker. Because if you look at his filmography, he's made like one movie every other year. Like 99, 2001, 2003, and then I think The Village was like 2004 even.
Yeah, I also read that he is I think it was 23rd. I think it was 23rd. his movies made the most money. Highest
Oh
grossing
yeah. Oh yeah.
directors. 23rd highest grossing director since 1990 to now.
Yeah, and that's. I know The Sixth Sense was like a mega
Oh,
success when it came out.
yeah, and that was a cheap movie, right? That was a
Yeah,
low
small
budget
the
movie.
movie cost like 25 million or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and and it grossed like hundreds and hundreds of millions,
Hmm.
which is that's really weird. Let's see if
Yeah,
I can.
40 million it
40
cost,
million, yeah.
and it made 293 million.
Yeah. Oh well, that's just domestic.
Oh yeah.
Worldwide, it made almost $700 million.
Oh yeah.
So you can see why they called him the next Spielberg.
Yeah. And I mean,
Oh,
none of his movies actually went bad, right? They
no.
all earned the
Um,
money, right?
they continually made less and less money.
But there was always a profit, right?
There was a profit.
Yeah, I mean,
This,
if you look at After Earth, just put one of its worst. That budget was 130 million, and worldwide it made 243. So it at least doubled the budget.
yeah, well, they don't account for marketing and all that. So that
Oh
I
yeah.
would say that like broke even, but
Mm,
just you can see a definite decline both in like we said, both in quality and in like profits,
mhm,
because Unbreakable cost 75 million to make. You got a little more money. They're like,
mhm.
here, take this money, make another success, and it only made $248 million. And I know they went back on Signs. Signs only cost like 40 again. That no, it cost 72 million. That made a little more money though. It made 400 million.
Mm.
But I know after that, it kind of like
I just checked this. Did you know what the budget for Split was?
it was like 9 million or something.
Yeah, 90. That's
Yeah,
nothing.
that's nothing. I mean, I can see there's not really a lot in the movie,
No, but
but
still.
still, yeah, I know. And that made how much did that make? Because that made
Worldwide, 278 million.
yeah, so it made its budget back like almost 30-fold.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely back now. But I
Mhm,
know like when his movies started to become worse,
mhm.
the profit started to like fall off. So
Oh.
that's also a reoccurring theme in his career. Like when he makes good movies, people appreciate it. When he makes bad movies, people don't appreciate it.
People hate it. People
Yeah.
are passionate about how
Yeah.
bad his movies are.
And that's kind of interesting because a lot of bad movies gets a lot of appreciation from people. Like
Yeah.
fucking Transformers movies, they pull in well over $1 billion each time, and they just get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's really interesting. I can't really think of any other director where people are so angry when it's bad that they are
yeah,
against M. Night. Because when he releases a bad movie, people are angry. Like,
yeah.
how could this guy still be making movies? Fucking hate him. I mean,
Why did you betray us?
yeah, and I mean, I was that guy too
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
few years.
Well, people
Like,
become invested in the movies because they were really good in the beginning.
yeah,
So it's like, why are you making bad movies now? You made great movies. And he made the best kind of movies, the ones that like regular people could enjoy, and like cinephiles or movie buffs, or
mhm,
whatever you want to call it, that could appreciate, and they could
yeah.
appreciate them both for separate things in the movie, but also for the same things.
Oh yeah.
So that's the perfect movie. That's the perfect kind of mainstream movie you want to make. Because it got everyone invested, not just critics and not just the audience. Everyone got invested in it. And then he just shit the bed.
And in that vein, it's not a leap to say he was supposed to be the next Spielberg.
Yeah, no,
that's what Spielberg did too, or still are doing.
Still kind of does. Yeah,
to some, he has fallen off the
a little
later
bit.
years, but
yeah.
Well, he also had that.
He's like pushing 80, or he's at least he's past 70, and
Yeah.
I know he doesn't want to do big action movies anymore because he's too tired.
Yeah.
So I think I wouldn't say Spielberg has like got like laid off or anything, but yeah, he's definitely pulled back a little bit. Just
and then You noticed that a lot in Ready Player One.
Yeah, I like
There
that.
wasn't. Yeah, I like the movie, but there wasn't a lot of heart in it in the production side.
No, not really. And I think that's just quickly. I think that's why a lot of it's CG, because he could
Yeah.
sit back and like, oh, do a little bit like that, do like that. Oh, great! He didn't really have to like get in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cop out. Still liked it.
Mm.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
now we're done.
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
So yeah. Once again, yeah, glad you're back. Keep making good movies.
Yeah.
And yeah, when eventually when Glass comes out, maybe we'll do another one of these shows. Just like either go oh no or go yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for next year. So yeah, we're done. We're done.
We're done. We're done.
Thank you for no one watching, but I know some will watch in the archives. I'm sorry, we were supposed to be more here. We were supposed to be 2 more guys, but you know that's the nature of live shows. But yeah, I know I haven't made a proper review in a while, but I have one that I've almost finished editing on. So don't worry, a new video is coming this week. I promise. I know it's been weeks and weeks, but it's coming. It's not super good. I don't want to get your hopes up. It's good, but it's not super good. And be sure to come back next Monday where we're going to do another live show. We don't have a subject yet, but it's coming. So until then, have a good one. Bye.